Over the course of this series, we've interviewed many founders facing and coping with the tough and peculiar times brought on by the pandemic. Now, in this interview, we want to change tack a little bit as we talk to an entrepreneur and alum of the school, Marc Jacobs, CEO of Molecular Plasma Group based in Luxembourg. Now, like all early stage ventures, MPG is heavily reliant on cash flow and uses that cash flow to build value, and it was hit as hard as anyone at the onset of the crisis. But as we see, what he managed to do was to pivot wonderfully, combining resilience with agility and nimbleness to maneuver his business. Marc, welcome. Can you give us an idea of your business and the essence of the plasma technology that underpins everything you do?
It's an atmospheric plasma technology that works at room temperature at super low energy levels. That's the essence of the technology. That in itself allows us to uniquely to bind organic chemistry onto any substrate. And then you can start dreaming what you can do with it. One example is, let's say you would like to glue Teflon onto something with an epoxy glue, just as an example. Could be any other glue for that matter. We will take a monomer of that epoxy glue, graft it with our technology onto the Teflon, and just in a layer of a few nanometers. But now I've permanently changed that chemical composition of the Teflon surface. I come with my glue, the glue reacts with that nanometric layer we put on, bingo, I can glue Teflon onto anything.
Now, you said just a second ago, you help customers dream what they can do with this. I mean, you do a lot more than that. I mean, I've been to your facility in Luxembourg. It's a giant, wonderful facility full of experimental rigs. And you know, your model is to collaborate with potential users, help them to figure out how it can work and what it can do for them, and then essentially sell the rigs to them.
So we start with application development services, essentially, because usually customers come to us with problems for which they haven't found solutions anywhere else. It's, when they looked at everything that they know and it doesn't work, then they come to us.
So with this amazingly collaborative model you have, where users come to your factory, I mean, you must have been hit quite hard on lockdown. I mean, no one could come to you anymore. There must have been projects that just ceased, which is potentially disastrous for a relatively young company such as yours.
There are actually quite a lot of projects that's indeed just ceased, and for various reasons. One, the obvious one, people couldn't travel anymore because indeed, as you pointed out, we work in a collaborative way with our customers. We don't want to be a black box that you put something in and something comes out. We co-develop solutions with our customers. So yes, the travel bans stopped everything, stopped a lot. But then once we started seeing the economic impact of COVID on many of our customers, think, high-end automotive type applications, think aeronautics. These are hard-hit sectors, and they're all reviewing their cash layouts. Where are they going to spend the money today? So yes.
But you're still smiling. I mean, I know you always smile, so that's imprinted, but you are still smiling and laughing. So something must be going right. When you woke up to this, how did you adapt? I mean, that's really where we want to go with this, because, from the moment you turned over and realized that tomorrow wasn't going to be the same as yesterday, you started doing things differently. Well,
the first reaction was, oh my gosh, what are we going to do here? Yeah, very honestly. But then, I think we had two things going for us. One is that from the beginning, we made a clear choice to be a platform technology with applications in many different verticals. And that has the advantage that you have resilience built in. If one goes down, another comes up, etc. And 2 years ago, one of those verticals that we started developing was in the healthcare sector, biomedical sector. Well, pretty obvious today, there's a huge opportunity in anything related to the healthcare sector when you talk about antiviral type applications, etc. We had those in the pipeline with a long horizon. Well, this was the time to change focus, shift gears, put all the energy in there and accelerate that quickly. So that's what we've been doing.
So what did you do? I mean, this requires a new set of relationships, new investment. Something that would in normal times take months, but you haven't got months.
We indeed haven't got one. So in order to be quick, agile, nimble, I said, okay, this is a whole new thing for us. We actually don't know much about this. We just know that with our technology, we can make a difference. And so I reached out to the world, to the network, to my network, to our customers, to our partners, to the London Business School network, and say, look, this is what we think we can do with this technology. This is where we want to go. Anyone interested in working with us on the various aspects that requires? And there's been a lot of response to that from customers, from the London Business School network, through the network, been put in contact with companies in Canada, etc. And it's been absolutely amazing.
So give us an example. I mean, there was one contact that you made through an alum of the school, Crystal Ruff, who put you in touch with a company, and there's something going there.
So Crystal Ruff is one of my colleagues at London Business School, who's very experienced in healthcare sector, and she really helped us a lot. Yeah. She said, whoa, I've got a good idea. I know this company that has this specific compound that could be of real interest to you. And if you could put that compound with your technology on personal protective equipment to enhance protection levels, to enhance useful lifetime, etc., that might be really interesting. So she put us in contact. We started looking at it, and yeah, we're on our way. It's looking really promising.
Right. And yeah, there's the money side. I mean, often you co-invest in these projects. I know you ask the companies themselves to put money in, but that takes time to flow. I mean, what sort of other schemes did you utilize? I mean, did you find that, for instance, customers were willing to pay up front for this sort of thing on spec? Was there support from the Luxembourg government?
I think the main thing is that for us, step one is to validate that we can actually do this. Yeah? So that is quite some basic development work that needs to be done. And for that, Luxembourg has specific funding schemes, which typically they will co-fund development to about 50% or so, which in the framework of the COVID crisis, they upped that to 80%. And if you have certain specific conditions that you fulfill, that may even go up to 95%. Which then obviously that's a major lifeline for us to fund the company, it's clear.
This has involved you essentially reconfiguring your business, as far as I can tell. I mean, nimbleness, agility is about redeploying resources, taking people off one priority and putting them on a brand new priority, reallocating resources. I mean, what challenges have there been internally, or is it the size of company and the flexibility of company where you can just, as I say, redeploy and reconfigure in these ways?
Well, obviously a small company makes it a lot easier, but frankly, like we have a fantastic team that's really engaged and ready to take up anything. And if you look at our team, we're small, but we're highly experienced, and we know where we want to go together. So we shift the goal. This is our focus now. Everybody aligns behind that goal, and we basically, Luxembourg national motto is "Let's make it happen." Well, that's our motto as well.
Okay, so this is a specific advantage over some of the larger lumbering behemoths. So once this is all over, do you see yourself as returning to normal? Has this changed your strategy and focus and priorities for good?
I think we'll come to some kind of new normal in some ways, because we have two verticals. We have this industrial adhesion type vertical, and we were building on that second pillar on healthcare. So that one's growing much faster now. It's hard to say which one is going to become the biggest in the future, but that one's definitely now the focus area, without forgetting the other one, of course. Mm-hmm. So with that, that means that we also very proactively are building our team towards that sector now much more than we originally intended to, at least not at the same timeline. There will be practical aspects that we will continue to do going forward. For instance, as we said earlier, we generally have our customers work with us in a collaborative way on our site. Well, today that's not possible. So we've come up with Google Glass type solutions where the customer can remotely be present as much as possible and participate as actively as possible still in the testing. So those types of solutions we will continue to do. And that will make us, again, more reactive, more agile, because if you can cut out the travel bit, things can be much more flexible and quick.
So Mark, many other tech-based businesses facing similar turmoil. Any advice to the founders of other businesses?
I think in our case, I think one of the major, if not the major, success factor in why we're able to do this is the power of the network. I think I actively rely on my network a lot to help us out, come with ideas, to collaboratively do things. Mm-hmm. And I think if you look at everything we've been doing, a lot of our success is part obviously from the team, but the reliance on the network, the building the network is very, very important.
Yeah, so there's a sense here that there's an adaptable team within, but over the years you've nurtured large numbers of partners, relationships around the world, and that's a flexible resource as well. And having a group of people around you who know, like, and trust you, and you can reach out to just like that is a major advantage.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement to make, yes.
Yeah, well, that's a lesson for founders in the future. Build those relationships, don't remain an island. Now, look, Mark, we need to let you go. Very grateful for your time and for your willingness to share what it is that you've been doing and how you've been coping. We'll let you get back now. So thank you very much. I'm really pleased that the Schools Network was able to help out a bit.
Thank you, Jeff. And most definitely, the Schools Network, very, very important in this. It's a major help.